Hey, what's up guys, OSG here with a video that has been long overdue, and it's one that has been really difficult. As being a C64 owner, my judgement is always clouded by heaps of nostalgia. I have previously done a best 30 C64 games list, but that was definitely driven by nostalgia, especially in the ordering, but in today's video I'm putting that all to one side and making a list of the truly best 30 C64 games ever made, not driven by nostalgia. And these are all games that I would pick up and play today even if I never owned a C64. Before all that though, I want to give a quick shout out and promo to Martin from the HobbyLodge. He's a die-hard C64 and Amiga fan and basically loves all things retro. Oh, why am I saying this? I'll let him explain.
Hey everybody, welcome to the HobbyLodge. OSG has very kindly offered me a spot on one of his videos to promote my channel. I'm a very small channel but hoping to grow, big ambitions to do well, and I'd love your support. Now for you guys watching this, I do an awful lot with the Commodore Amiga, Commodore 64. I have a great passion for those machines. They were the machines I had as a child, so I love playing the games and playing with those systems. But of course there's so much more that goes on in the HobbyLodge. There's many other retro gaming systems that I play with in here and collect for and talk about. But even then, you know, the hobby extends way beyond just video gaming. I'm into board gaming, I'm into war gaming, I'm into 3D printing and painting miniatures. So much goes on in the HobbyLodge with me and my family, and I'd love it if you came over to the channel, checked it out, and if it's something you enjoy, maybe you'll stick around and hit the subscribe button and be along with me on the journey and enjoy what goes on in the HobbyLodge. But anyway, I'm going to get you back to OSG now so we can watch his video. I'll be watching it along with you, and I hope you stay well, and maybe you'll come and check out the channel. Thank you.
Good stuff Martin, be sure to go off to Martin's channel and watch his videos and subscribe. Anyway, enough promoting, let's take a look at the 30 best C64 games ever made in order of greatness. Kicking us off in 30th place we have The Train, Escape to Normandy. Definitely not driven by nostalgia, as up until a few years ago I'd never heard of this game, but when I first played it I thought wow, and it's a game I've been playing ever since. Yeah, it's a train simulator, but one with first person shooting and beachhead style gameplay all rolled into one. '29th place is taken by Impossible Mission. This is a game that I did play when I was younger, but apart from a great animation and speech, I never liked it much, as it was too hard for me. Years later I revisited it, and I found out just what a great game it is if you put the time in to get into it. In 28th place we have The Shadow over Hawksmill. Obviously with nostalgia put to one side, this list is going to be littered with the new games, and this is the first of many on here. The look, sound and story of this game are straight out of an old gumshoe / horror movie, and when I first played it I couldn't believe this was on a C64. Ultimate Wizard is in 27th position. As we go down this list I hope it becomes apparent that this is driven by gameplay first, as that's a thing that never gets old in a game, and in Ultimate Wizard we got just that. It's frantic fun from the off and is a game that could grace any modern platform and people would still love it. '26th place is taken by Slicks. Now this game won't be for everyone, as it's got to be one of the hardest racing games ever made, but I guarantee if you persevere, learn the braking distances, the corner speeds, you will end up loving this game as much as I do, as it's awesome. In 25th place we have Gunship. When I first started doing this list, I never expected to have a combat flight sim in here, as most haven't aged well, but this game, looks aside, handles as good as any flight sim I've ever played, and it's actually more fun than most of them too. Again, won't be for everyone, but for me it hasn't lost any of its appeal at all. Ghosts and Goblins Arcade is in 24th position. Over the last few years we've had a few classics remade, and Ghosts and Goblins Arcade took an already good version of the arcade game and made it great. Everything in this game is brilliant, and it's definitely the best 8-bit micro version of the game. .23rd place is taken by Donkey Kong Jr. This is probably the best arcade conversion on the C64. In fact, I actually think it outdoes the arcade in gameplay department. It's a new game released in 2014 by Mr. Sid, a name we will see much higher up on this list as his work is magnificent. In 22nd place we have Project Firestart. Released by Electronic Arts in 1989, this was maybe late to the party, as many people had moved on to Amiga etc. by that time, including me. What we missed out on was a totally awesome game that is unrivaled on the system with its eerie atmosphere. It's almost like being in a Ridley Scott alien film. Below the Root is in 21st position, so I had heard people mention Below the Root and Alice in Wonderland on the system, but I'd never played them as a kid. Maybe that's because the box art isn't a thing that attracts kids, and that most of the time was how I picked the game. I recently started playing this, and the storyline and gameplay is immense. The character movement is great, and looks aside, this is a game that I will never tire of. .20th place is taken by Commando Arcade. Right, so the original Commando with the Hulsbeck soundtrack was brilliant, but everyone said it was too short, which let's face it, it was. Enter nostalgia in 2015 and we got a revamped, full-length, awesome version of the arcade while still retaining the charm of the original. In 19th place we have Bobble. This is a game that is really hard not to have some nostalgia towards, but that aside, the gameplay on this game is immense for an 8-bit conversion, and the music I would say is actually outdoes the arcade. It's just so good, like a worm in your brain once you've heard it. IK Plus is in 18th position. So IK Plus is basically a game I will play on any system. The Amiga pips this version for overall package, but gameplay wise it's right up there alongside the Amiga, and it's a game that hasn't grown old at all, and one that me and my son play regularly, and he loves it as much as I do. 17th place is taken by Turrican. This is the only exception to the rule of no series on this list, as I removed some epic sports games and international karate and just kept the best ones. But Turrican, although Turrican 2 is a far superior game, is a game that needs to be played in my eyes and one that I regularly go back to and then onto the second game, so it had to be on the list. In 16th place we have L'Abbaye de Morts. This is such a well made game with graphics and music from one of my favourite artists, Saul Cross. It's a game that will challenge you but not piss you off with its difficulty and have you playing for hours with its spooky atmosphere and gameplay. Katakis is in 15th place. Come on, you knew I'd shoehorn this in here somewhere. Nostalgia aside though, this is one awesome shoot 'em up on the system with its kick-ass soundtrack from Uzbek. There is actually another shooter high on this list, so you know that I'm doing this list with my head and not my heart, because for me, nothing beats this. Fourteenth place is taken by Prince of Persia. This is a game that everyone is sure they played as a kid, but actually they didn't, as it was never released on the C64. Years after the original in 2011 it eventually came to the C64, and it's that good it's injected nostalgia into people's mind to make them think that they played it back in the day. In 13th place we have Winter Games. Okay, so this is a placeholder here for any Epix game series that you enjoyed, as most of them are so playable still. For me though, Winter Games goes that extra mile with the gameplay. Yes, even the figure skating I liked when I eventually got used to some of the weirdest controls ever. Super Mario Bros. C64 is in 12th position. A few years ago, Zero Page done the unthinkable and ported the best known platform game from the 80s to the C64. They said it couldn't be done, but do it he did, and apart from a few minor control problems in the jumps and some slowdown, it's a like for like copy of the original NES game. This actually put the C64 back on the map for a lot of people when it came out. In 11th place we have Samurai Warrior, the Battle of Usagi Yojimbo. Today we harp on about how good the new C64 games look, but way back in 1988 we got this beauty. Samurai Warrior is a complete package, stunning graphics, great sound and super atmospheric gameplay, and deserves much more coverage than it gets on the system. Tenth place is taken by Steel Ranger. Right, so this is a new game to me, as I only started playing it at the back end of last year. At first I wasn't impressed, but the more I played it and the more I stopped comparing it to Turrican, I enjoyed it for what it is, a class platform game with great controls, weapons and gameplay. It's as simple as that. If you love run and gun platformers, then this is one of the best on the system. Zap McKracken and the Alien Mindbenders is in 9th position. This Lucasfilm classic has never aged at all in gameplay, and actually the graphics still look great today too for the genre. One of two similar games on this list by Lucas, but different enough to gain its place on the list, and it's such fun to play, and I never tire of playing it, even though I've completed it many times. In 8th place we have Soul Force. Like I said, Katakis will always be my favourite shoot 'em up on the C64, but nostalgia plays a big part in that, and when that's taken away, there's no denying that nothing comes close to this in the genre on the C64. It's near perfection in every way possible for a shooter. Seventh place is taken by Stunt Car Racer. As with IK Plus, this is a game that I would happily play on any system as they are all good, and as with IK Plus, the Amiga version pips this one, but the speed and gameplay in this game are immense, and it's a game that I would sit down and play for hours and hours even today, as it's lost nothing over the last 34 years in any department. Maniac Mansion is in 6th position, very similar to Zack McKracken in gameplay, but with a whole different story, and a better one I think. People who love Maniac Mansion go on to play as Zack McKracken, but for me, this will always be the one that started the Lucasfilm Games franchise, and it's still as good as it ever was, with loads of humour. In 5th place we have Last Ninja 2. Again, this may cause some feathers to ruffle, as for some people the controls just don't click, but hey, when they do click, this game is a work of art. Great graphics, massive levels, and a soundtrack that is beyond a doubt the best on the C64. Nostalgia aside, if I was to pick this up and play it again for the first time today, I'd still be blown away. Fourth place is taken by Sonic the Hedgehog. So when this game dropped out of the blue just over a year ago, it blew everyone's minds. I was the first to do a full YouTube playthrough on the C64 and loved every minute of it. Why isn't it higher then? Well, the other games on this list are playable on a standard C64, while this one isn't, and that's the only reason this isn't in 2nd place. Sid Meier's Pirates is in 3rd place. If ever a game has stood the test of time, it's Pirates. It's been released on modern systems recently through Steam etc, and even had some remakes in the early 2000s, all of which are great, but for me the C64 has it all. Yeah, the graphics aren't up to the modern versions, but the gameplay on the C64 is immense. In 2nd place we have Turrican 2 The Final Fight. As I said earlier, this is way better than the original, and it's by the great Manfred Trenz, so that ensures that we got a game that would never grow old. Graphics aside, it's as good as the Amiga for gameplay, and if this next game was never made, this would have topped the chart. It does top the chart if nostalgia is taken into account anyway. And now in first place we have Sam's Journey. Sam's Journey is a game that I dare any other 8-bit micro fan to say we have a better game than Sam's Journey on our system, because quite frankly that would just be a lie. It takes the 8-bit micro to a whole new level, with a game that is loved by retro gamers of all ages. If you haven't played this game, then go and grab a copy and play it and prepare to be blown away. I honestly don't think we will ever get an 8-bit micro game that beats this. Okay, that's it for this video. I've tried to be as impartial as I can to get a list of games that got their place for true greatness and not nostalgic reasons. Let me know in the comments below if you can think of any games that should have been on this list. Please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more great retro content. And if you would like to support the channel like these nostalgic folk going up the screen right now, get on over to my Patreon channel, where you can pledge for as little as $1 that will get your name in the end credits, video requests, giveaways and more in the future. Till next time, this is OSG, signing out.